Ahoy hoy! Look it up. This is Marco O of Marco O Productions, which ought to be fairly obvious since I'm the only one working on the channel as of right now, and that's why it's called Marco O Productions. And I'd like to wish everyone who appreciates American Independence Day a happy Independence Day. Woo! We made it! Especially in our time right now. So yeah, that was the first and foremost. But I wanted to talk about a few other things. So this channel is a bit of a passion project. I'm just trying to get some of my writings out there, and insofar, considering I've only been on for a couple of weeks, it's going pretty well. I've passed the 100 view mark, which I am actually proud of, and my channel is very slowly growing, but it's growing at a fairly steady rate. More so, I wanted to talk about my next steps in life. For those of you who know, then you probably can figure out what I'm talking about. And for those who don't know, I'll just let it out. I live pretty far from the college I'm going to. I'm going to Michigan State, and if you can't figure out what state that's in, okay then. And I'm going to study mechanical engineering, if nothing else for job security. I mean, I do like messing with machines, and that's a big part of why I want to become a mechanical engineer. So, this is an unscripted video, as I'm sure you can tell. I usually have a script right next to whatever I'm speaking, or whenever I'm speaking. So, security. I have some talking points here, though, next to me. And the first one is security. Security in many senses. One, job security. I'm going into a field that's probably never going to stop growing. As machines improve or get more complex, it's going to be the mechanical engineer's responsibility to be able to look after those machines. But that's not quite all. When I go to my college of choice, I have to think of the security of my mental and physical health and anything I hold dear. See, it's not a matter of just going. I could very well break down, and that's a bit of a scary idea, but I'll get to the uncertainties later. So I already covered the college that I'm going to and where I'm going, and well, here I am, uncertainties. So that's one uncertainty. Another one is making new friends. I mean, I'm a pretty social person. Making friends hasn't been difficult as of the past couple of years. Yeah, I said past couple of years. It took me a long time to be able to make friends easily. But I learned, and for the most part, it's not difficult and not something I'm too worried about. Just that I'm going to be leaving friends behind. That's an issue. But when I come back, you find the real friends. The ones that still want to spend time with you, want to hang out, want to do things with you. And I know that those friendships will last for a long time. I'm gonna be far away from home, and it's a funny thing. I'm a fairly callous person, so I'm not too worried about getting homesick. However, I know at some point or another I will get homesick. And yeah, that's something big. I'm afraid that it'll actually take a good toll on me if and when it does occur. And here the main part of the video, next steps. So in order to keep myself occupied mentally and physically, well, physically is the easiest thing to do, is just go exercise, run, meet new people. interact. All those things would keep me physically occupied, keep my hands somewhat busy, make sure that I'm constantly being productive to some extent or another. But along with physicality and going into my mental faculties, I'm going to try to take on at least 2 hobbies. Well, YouTube's one. I'm going to try to maintain it as I go throughout college. And maybe even further on, I do have plans for this channel. If you all heard my first video, the outro for my first video, I have big plans. It doesn't stop at YouTube. Let's put it that way. As the channel grows, I'll explain more. But right now, while it's still small and still growing, I just have plans. Whether or not they'll come to fruition is up to see, but I am working towards that goal. And then something a little more simple, something just to see my gradual progress and being able to take care of something while I'm away, because I'll no longer be around my dogs, which is something scary for me because I've never been away from them for more than a couple of weeks at a time. And this other hobby is just to grow a bonsai tree. It's something small, it shouldn't cause too many issues with people, and doesn't make noise. Unlike a pet might very well do. So those are just some things that I'm thinking about. I don't know what the future holds. Things can seem precarious at times, but it just depends on my mental health and how ready I am to just take on whatever comes in front of me. And I refuse to be beaten to the ground at any given time. I'm a very stubborn human being. But that may not be the same for all of you. For all those who listen to me, whether or not you're going to college or just taking on a new phase of your life, I feel for you. I mean, it's an intense thought process. I'm sure some of my viewers are pretty young, roughly my age, since I'm at this point in time only sharing my videos to my Facebook account, and for the most part, that's where all my viewers are coming from, or all my views are coming from. But for those of you who watch and have a little more experience, why don't you write down in the comments below? Write down what helped you get through this point in time. For I'm not very worried, but other people may be. And this is an opportunity where I may be going through something and someone else may not, may be able to help me. However, someone may be going through something that I'm not going through, and they need help themselves. So if you have the next phase in your life right about now, write it down. Write it down in the comments, and maybe you'll get a reply. I mean, it's a really small channel, but you never know what'll happen. And for those of you who have had this next stage in your life, this kind of situation, write down your experience and how you got through it, or what helped you get through it. And there are people out there who may be banking on that information. I don't know, but I'd like to find out what everyone's thinking, especially those who just graduated. Alright, I don't know how often I'll create these, I'm going to call them college thought process. Yeah, I like that, college thought process. I don't know how often I'll create these, but I think they're worth something. And maybe they'll help the channel expand. I don't know. That's just my thought process for today. Thank you for your time, and have a great day.